Good to go?
Yep.
Evening, folks. We're in Missouri with a little bit of the crew, the First Lite crew, Onyx, Taylor, Greg, and myself. We're going to go through sort of what we've got going on. This is our whitetail week, and we are in a little bit south Missouri, taking a few days to chase some whitetails during the rut. We wanted to go through a few different things today to showcase what we're doing. First of all, we're going to talk about our kits, what the weather's been like here, what we're rocking as far as base layers all the way to outer layers. We're going to talk about some private and public pinch points that we've been utilizing Onyx pretty effectively to sort of help our game a little bit. And then finally, we're just going to talk about what the deer are doing, where we're at in the country, and sort of what the rut activity is like in here in November. We're on the 12th of November, I think, today. And so I want to start out by just figuring out or talking about a little bit what the temperatures are like today. So we left the house today a little after 7 a.m. We got in a little late last night, so we wanted to go in the daylight, kind of get our bearings a little bit. And it started off pretty cold. It was about 10 degrees when we left. I think the high maybe was 19 today.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
Yeah, it's freezing out there. So we all kind of layer and kit our things a little differently. So Taylor's going to talk a little bit about what he had on today to sort of mitigate that cold weather.
Yeah, so I think at one point I looked at my phone and the feels like temperature was -6.
Jeez.
So definitely
That's
not warm. All my water bottles turned to ice cubes, which was awesome. So I was rocking on my lower half the killed midweight, then the heavyweight base layers. Then I have the Solitude bibs, and then I had again midweight, heavyweight base layers. Then I was wearing my Kiln hoodie, and then Sawtooth vest, and then my Solitude jacket. So I pretty much looked like every piece of kit that I had,
Right.
But I needed it. And I mean, dude, that Solitude set was amazing today with the kit link. I mean, I still have my hand warmers in here, which are nice and toasty.
Yeah, now they are.
But I mean,
Yeah.
to be able to hunker down and sit there
Mhm.
with your hands here, but still have, we're all bow hunting, so to have those thin gloves on and still be able to feel your fingertips is really critical. I mean, it's the little things like that that really add up and help make a difference, I think.
One of the cool things about the Solitude kit too is that we're hunting public ground, so the access points are all non-motorized. So we're having to get off our trucks a little bit and actually walk. So one of the cool things about this is even with that extensive layering kit, there's really no need to worry about overheating on your walk into the stand. We're hauling tree stands and saddles in, and really wasn't too big of a deal today, I didn't think. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, the fact that you can just unzip down
Mhm.
and vent and just dump heat
Mm-hmm.
is critical, because once you overheat, the reaction to that is just not good, especially when it's 15, 19
Right.
degrees out, feels
Yeah.
like -6. I mean, so it's just the ability to dump heat is
Right.
crucial. And that's where the merino comes in too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that it's helping regulate your temperature and preventing that overheating, I think, is really important.
Well, especially with the bib system, right? Because you can bring your jacket in on your back, let the merino do its job underneath your bibs while you're walking in, and then layer that jacket on once you get in the stand. That's what I did today. It worked awesome.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I had my jacket, on my pack, put it on at the base of the tree, climbed up, and it's just perfect that way.
Yeah.
So-
And I think the big thing too is the fact, just reiterating what you said, being able to warm my hands up with the bibs. I don't like shooting with gloves. I can't do it. It's just something.
Yeah.
So I'd wear gloves, but then if I heard something, I would, get ready and I'd have them in there and putting it against your body to get that heat going. It was a game changer for me.
The other thing that I absolutely love is being able to keep my release in there with my hand warmers, so it's hot.
Yeah.
And then also keeping your cell phone in there.
Yeah.
So for the fact that it prevents your cell phone from
Yeah,
freezing
from dying right away.
and crushing the battery, and we're a couple miles back, we're all super separated. It's nice to be able to communicate
Yeah.
and know that I can follow my map, on the way out, and also keep my pins in check. If I come across some sign on the way out, I can drop a pin there on my Onyx map, and just the fact that my phone's not freezing and dying,
Right.
that's a really important thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the last thing to wrap up just the gear section of this conversation, the biggest thing, this is the sort of the lowest end that you take the Solitude kit. So, because Taylor's wearing 3 to 5 layers underneath the Solitude kit, if you wanted to go with the Sanctuary system, you wouldn't have to wear as many layers. And that basically, you know, we're at the cusp of it right now, I'd say. You
Definitely.
know, five more degrees and you wouldn't want to be wearing the Solitude.
Well, we even kind of talked about this morning. It's like we're pushing the boundaries on, you know, it's in the teens. We're pushing the boundaries on that because part of what we're doing here is testing gear. So we want to be able to do that. But to Kevin's point, yeah, I mean, this is definitely sanctuary weather as well. But it's pretty cool that that same kit that you can wear in the 50s, right, during the early part of the rut or rut activity, you can also layer down to the teens, which we did today and was fine.
Yeah, it's super versatile piece of kit.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that you can literally wear it from the middle of October, I mean, depending on where you live, but the middle of October deep into, I mean, this is like December weather.
Definitely.
Right.
Temperatures like this, and you can layer it and make it work.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we're gonna see maybe 45 degrees this week, you know, and versus the 19 or 6 or whatever it was this morning. That's a big swing. So I think that middle ground for the Solitude is pretty extraordinary.
Definitely.
Cool. Well, good. So that's kind of the gear section. We're going to talk a little bit now about how we went into this area. First time any of us have ever been here. And Zach will chat a little bit about, I think, just a little bit about what the public pinch points look like and how we're assessing that from a whitetail standpoint.
Yeah, we were fortunate. A couple guys at camp actually gave us some pointers, and they were able to share some pins for us. But really, we came in last night, we knew nothing of what it looked like or anything like that. We just saw what was on the map. And so we kind of fanned out. Us three were together, and we were looking for does. So we were down in the bottom. We were kind of on that fringe area from private to public, but then also on public we had some fields. And so we were trying to find that cover and where they're going to be cruising. And we fanned out to what, about 500 to 600 yards maybe.
Yeah.
And we saw, I think I saw 4 does, you saw 6, 7,
6,
and then you had a couple bucks and some does. And so we found what we were looking for. We just haven't quite found the bucks. And then Taylor, you were up kind of hunting those saddles, right? You were looking for topography and trying to find drainages that they're going to be coming up. And so we're kind of spreading out. There's a lot of different places that we can hunt. But the biggest thing is we're looking for these pinch points. We're trying to find where these bucks are cruising. And what's nice is we have a ton of public land to hunt, but we're still hunting these boundaries where they could be on private, where they're going to see less pressure. And then we're trying to find where they're going to move through the public so we can be there waiting for them.
One of the nicest things too about that app, I think from my perspective, is when you get into an area like this, there's a lot of roads, a lot of road systems. Some are shut down, some are not. Some are motorized, some are not. It's really helpful to be able to use OnX to look at what you can actually access, and it, in fact, helped us go into places where we think people aren't going to go because they can't drive.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful too. Just
Yeah,
the little thing on there.
Well, in addition, we don't have very good cell service here. So
No.
being able to go in and download those maps ahead of time and then still be able to access them and drop points and share points while being offline. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do any of that in this spot if we couldn't download those maps
for
ahead
sure.
of time.
And to be able to download them in like a high res, to where you can really zoom in, see the trails, and go, here's where I want to go, here's where the parking lot is. Now, how do those connect to get there? And
Almost
then
to the tree. I mean,
Yeah,
Carl, our
literally.
buddy, was over here tonight, and he was saying you need to sit in this tree, and you can zoom in on the save map and find the actual tree. It's pretty cool.
It's amazingly helpful. I don't know how people did it before. I would be terrible.
Yeah.
In 1980, I'd still be in the woods with my compass and my lantern.
Well, and the thing that makes it nice too is we're hunting as a group right now, and if you look at our map from last night to now, we have so many more points on where to go, where's like potential points of interest, where not to go. Like we've crossed a couple off, and each day we're just going to continue to add them, and we're just getting more knowledge of this area. And fortunately, we have 3 more days of hunting, so we're just going to keep adding points and crossing areas off, and hopefully start to find out where we need to be these next couple days.
So now the part that everybody wants to know about is what's the rut activity in our part of the country. So Greg's going to talk a little bit about what we saw today. Why don't we go around just really quick and tell folks what we saw as far as just deer numbers and what the deer were acting like. And again, it's November 12th. I think it's November 12th, right?
Yeah, I think
All
so.
right.
Yep.
Tuesday. So let's talk a little bit about that. Start with you, Zach, and then just kind of go through and then
Yeah.
talk about
So
what
for
we
me, it was, only saw a handful of does, and really they were just moving from feeding and then just kind of moving through from bedding. And so mine was a little bit slower than these guys. But yeah, a couple does and some turkeys was all I had today.
What about you?
I saw a pile of does, 6 or 7. I'm not sure if one was the same or not. But I would say it was similar to what Zach saw in terms of rut activity. None of them were really acting funky. They were all just kind of browsing through between bedding and feeding. Didn't see any bucks chasing or tailing them, which is kind of interesting, and none of them were acting like that was the case. So I would say, in terms of like seeing deer on day one, it was successful. But in terms of rut activity, I didn't really see any where I was at. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because the 3 bucks that I saw today acted like a buck going in the field at last light to go eat. The one thing I saw today that was a little bit kind of out of the ordinary, at least you know, for what these guys have seen, is I did see a doe kick off her fawn basically, which signals to me that it's close.
Good sign of things to come.
Yeah, they're getting close. But yeah, I saw 3 bucks today. No shooters, and they're kind of just acting like normal bucks, just going to feed and get back in the timber. So
Yeah, so we saw a decent buck, you know, not a monster by any means, but a good buck, which was the first deer we saw, which is pretty cool. And that was, you know, maybe 30 minutes before last light. We did see 2 does. They came running off the ridge that was like 500 yards from us, like 300 yards from us. And it looked like they were getting chased, but we threw our binos up and didn't see anything running after them. They kind of came down towards us, but they were like straight downwind with the thermals pulling downhill. I don't think they smelled us, but I think they kind of knew something was going on and just kind of went away. But we never saw another buck chasing them. So I mean, for rut activity, you know, I think Greg hit the nail on the head. Like as far as seeing deer on the first day, awesome, right?
Yeah.
But for running activity, I mean, the buck that we saw was feeding. He was not interested in ladies. Didn't seem like.
right.
Yeah, who knows what pump those does over the hill.
So where do you think we're at? You know, as far as the year goes, we're in basically the second week of November. Most Heartland country is probably seeing the start of the best part of the year. So where do you think we're at here?
Yeah, so I come from Wisconsin, and I would say last week was like hot for us. Things were cranking there, which I kind of expected to see here. And actually talking to some other guys around camp, their impression was that maybe yesterday the switch had kind of flipped.
Right.
We didn't see that. There was a big front that pushed through yesterday with dumped a bunch of snow, and temperatures dropped dramatically. So I think it'll actually be kind of interesting to be able to answer that bet over the next few days to see, you know, A, where we're at in the rut, B, how that front kind of affected things.
Sure.
But I'm hopeful that it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, it's got to, man. I think that we're hitting the nail on the head here. This is going to be a good week to be here. So
Yeah, I mean, back home in DC, the rut's pretty much cranking. The deer are starting to chase right now. Like you, I mean, I really thought that we had timed it perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we haven't, but I really think that front plays a big part in it. So
I think so too.
I'm thinking that, you know, tomorrow we have a huge temperature swing where it's going to be 14 degrees in the morning. It's going to get up to 44 by like 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I think we might see it really crank on
I think so.
tomorrow, like early afternoon. I think, you know, that cold front, I mean, it dropped like, what, 50 degrees yesterday?
right.
Yeah.
Or in a span of like 36 hours.
Yeah.
It went from like
Dump snow.
warm to snowy and just not good. So I think we're going to see like the switch. I'm anticipating a switch flipping tomorrow, like early afternoon.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks guys. This has been First Light's Rut Report here in Missouri. We'll check back in tomorrow. Thanks.